CGQM Beach Office 5522 Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Today is 28 November 2021. We will move from the point that we stopped in the afternoon when I was cleaning the garden. We will have this issue, the international date by new T as new tracer and quadrant tracer. The second, interference by local risk as corruption or something like this in less than 15 days. Possibility. Noises observed at the communication service, comparative measurement 5521. Provider offered at Rio de Janeiro, provider offered at Saquarema City. To complain, have the international request of information based on financial system, because we use the internet to do our payments, purchase, or things like this. If we have risks on it, we have fintech crime as possibility, and then the entire trail as possibility allowed us to have an inference. The inference based on facts is that we can use the criminal record in Brazil, because indeed we have criminals inside public department committing crimes, doing the registry, have modification of data, and this is an asset, one of the elements and part of the mission at the security forum. We have production of proofs or information driven by the prosecutors, by payment, regular, and judges, even in the second degree as jurisdiction or ministry, dripping information or offering decisions by payment. The integrated failure is a reality. Article 74, 23, item 1 of the Brazilian Constitution, public system considering financial registry, budget, social registry, health system, and others, with convergent element at the central bank plus the treasury office in Brazil, which has the not proper data, as you can observe, value -1 inside the conjuncture Brazil. By all these, it's impossible to have transparency required as accomplishment with the Article 174 of our Constitution. Specific hand state, criminal state, evidence. Then we will check that this model goes like this: the integrated system by the public institution, which can be state institution or democratic institution, going by specific hands, involving the Congress, the system of justice, the government. The government changed from time to time. The Congress changed from time to time. The system of justice has the long life checks. Continuity of scams by silence, they are leading this. Evidence proved. Failure as storage big data crime in Brazil, 313A of our criminal law. The modification of data can go by silence, by logical gap, impacting the criminal records, Article 809 of the procedural law, and we are discarding the data asset in Brazil for inference, which can support the Article 239, but we can use the Article 239 with another instrument, which is this financial paper named House-Bound Financial Theory, authentic, systemic crime audited, mandatory habeas data. We will check one more time that the failures which goes against the family that must be protected by the state indeed goes in a very first moment by the failures on institution. It means that I have my state, my family, I have my social circle, and I have my institutional or professional environment. The failure here crossing my professional area, my institutional area at my conjuncture with specific hands on it as we could prove one more time in a series of a dozen. We will have the social circle affected, the family circle affected to affect the variable that you consider your enemy by, for instance, an anti-crime research inside the criminal conjuncture with trending -1 inside the space, which points that you consider this regular, but indeed it's not. You are violating the Constitution, you are violating the criminal law, have criminal association for illegal purpose, Article 13 of our criminal law plus law 12,850, Article 1. This silence, considering laundering scams, can point to terror, warfare, clandestine organization by variables that got dropped from institutions committing a big illicit operation, having the storage of money, clandestine communication plus clandestine storage of money, plus clandestine hiring process, and cargo thievery, and a lot of things considering the modified data and all this that you observe. Do we have a clandestine mobilization, criminal offender Brazil, considering the security forum that needs this kind of data? Criminal state, second crime against the family, basis of society. When we attack this, for instance, in a hypothetical way, by the example that we had in the afternoon, considering the murder of someone, for instance, a person that has 33 trillion as an expectation, which is a credit, got killed by family members, and they will suffer the exclusion because has no dignity to be at the heritage procedure, and then the state will overtake, I would say, this property. But the state's full of criminal. But in this case, if the state by departments, officers, or even attorney are leading this, mentoring this, the state has no dignity. Facts that can be easily proved considering the criminal state plus trending -1 double inference, beefing up the accusation against the state this time. 33 trillion combination with other state by economical bloc, silence on it, considering the pattern observed which goes inside the Brazilian financial system, supported by not proper records, with the protection of criminal records, criminal decisions, and information dripped by the public investigation, you have no legitimacy to act. And the Constitution allowed us to do things in the way we are doing, replacing you by the lack of will to do the right thing. You only act to do things according with the trending -1. This is a fact, at least since 2012. We will have now the issue that we could expose here, the indignity, the criminal state, which crimes those criminal state is committing. The first one is do the research and take a look at the blog risk report trace 2021.blogspot.com. You check there that we have a post using the new TRACER by QUADRANTS, considering the organization as distribution of geopolitics, empowerment by institution, ruled by corruption, and have the continuity by nepotism, or things very close to this hiring process, specific hands, contracts made specific hands, illicit advantage from public treasury by public budget. We will observe that when you get this choked by this financial paper, you can have an option as doing the more than have the heritage in the way we are observed as an hypothetical model observation or academic issue, but will be declared indignant at your indignity. You had no dignity as a state. Serious thing, you know? Yeah. Charge consequence against specific variables. 37 of Brazilian Constitution to keep the tranquility of our society that must be protected by serious institutions. Considering that the institutions are formed by people, we cut the people and have the institutional role played, even by the partnership inside the security forum, and we can have this in a permutative way. If you must have the declaration and you do not have, you probably, you know, are at the same situation and you will be replaced. If you, this must be a decision, the machine will have this, and you have like a voice declaring that you have the cretinism of Brazil or something like this. So, then we will check that this model is a controlled event, the segmentation law 7850 Article 1, Item 4 of the Brazilian Constitution as my free will that you didn't respect all this time, and protected by the America as preamble blessed of freedom and the tranquility and stability that you need, considering the judicial power in America. Then we will observe that the general notion, at least in Brazil, inside the security forum, is integrated failure of geopolitical distribution of power, states, federative units, seats, or counties. We have this by the quadrant trace, considering the distortion at the root, public department on it, federative unit, seat, the federative unit, the country. Then, silence 13 of our criminal law, financial element on it, white collar crime, transnational organized crime, exposed by law. And then we will check the new tracer as new T model. First one, the geopolitical zone by this distribution, segmentation by flow and has reverse flow, have noise, interruption, segmented, evidenced, audit at least. Then we will check the KPI as CGQM, my capital letters at my name, to have the drug user, the drug test of possibility as use that create the dependence, and you will be playing things by drug law that you are serving. Then you have the tax fraud to keep the continuity of your gains in the very first moment, supporting your drug dependence and others. Then we will have that you will be accustomed with this, and your property evaluation will be under review, and you will be unable to do the drug test, to have the tax review or the property evaluation. For instance, if you are a board member or a judge, got dropped from your institution but had a list operation before get stepped down, and you now use some players at the market to do the integration. Of course that we have a situation here, despite you consider that this is an anti-corruption effort, the OECD consider maybe laundering scam, supporting the terror. We have a paper about this. Take a look. I will put at the blog. Make things easy to you, because during all this period we had systematic violation and no action about or against the issues complained by the offender. This was complained by the ACD, my friend, criminal offender Brazil. Then we have the circuit by crossed by cuts. We use this as the security forensics cross-cut. We had the segmentation, we had the test to identify if the noise can exist, for sure indeed exists. Then we have the macro and micro. Bank account, budget decision, contract signatures, decision signature. Distortion. In all this, of course, you do the observation as integrated failure, no doubts about it. Then we will check that the deep web scam is in deep shit. Mandatory need the habeas data to protect data at public department, which implies criminals inside public department. 13. The silence has continued to offend, blind eye association, and fired. Judicial inference America. Then violations beyond the Article 174, beyond the limits of your jurisdiction, you are international threat or a global menace, my friend, criminal offender Brazil. Trend -1 at zone, +1 exists, yes, 1, 1, no, 0, 0, COBOL 50s. Then we'll check the public, A as corporate, B a model to do the regression against specific institutions with specific variables inside. Problem solving, mathematics, philosophy, algebraic model, a bit of administration, a lot of heart, and the will. Have a nice week.